Welcome back to Afternoon Live. To keep your houseplants healthy and growing, it's important to know when and how to repot them. Here to help, we welcome back co-author of How to Plant a Room and Grow a Happy Home, Erin Harding is here. It's so nice to see you.
Hi, Hannah. Thanks for having me again.
This is so fun.
Well, it's spring, right?
Yes.
Spring is here, and even though we are talking about indoor gardening, we still need to take care of our plants in the right way. And one of the biggest things that we can do during the spring for our plants is give it a new home. Repot it into a pot that gives it more room to grow, because spring and summer are the active growing seasons for indoor plants as well as outdoor.
It needs a new outfit. It's a new accessory.
It does. And let's talk about that, because there's tons of beautiful pots and pottery and things like that. So the first thing to know is, when do we do it? How do we know when to do it? So there are a couple things I want to show you, and then we don't always see the need to repot either. So here's a few tips. One is, when you buy a plant at a store, it's going to be in a nursery pot, okay? It's a plastic pot. And oftentimes what will happen, like, these roots are growing out of the top of the pot. It's time.
She's telling us something.
Yeah, we definitely need to fix that. And sometimes you'll see roots growing out of the bottom of the drainage holes as well. That is a good indication. Also, this is rock hard. It shouldn't be. So it's just time to repot, because it needs a bigger size, and it also needs new potting mix. So that's a really good indication there. Sometimes we don't see the roots necessarily growing out of the pot, but we can tell. You can barely see the pot with the
seen as a miss. Yeah. Okay.
So this pot has been a great home for this plant, clearly, but it's time to resize this plant in a new pot. Another thing, as another tip, is that sometimes the plants have been in a pot. So I put this plant in as a cutting. So it was a propagated cutting that I put in. The roots were really small. It's been in here for about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So even though I don't see clear signs of needing to repot it needs to be repotted. It's time. Yeah. So I would say, first of all, if you don't see obvious signs, take a look at how long it's been in a pot and then go from there. The next thing is what pot and what pot size. So the big key, the tip I have, is that I like to do something 2 to 4 inches bigger than the pot it's currently in. So if we have a plant in a pot this size, we want to go up just about one size. So something like this would be perfect. Or even something small like this we could do. It gives it a little bit more room to grow.
Yeah, don't go crazy and give it this huge mansion that it's not ready for yet.
Yes, because like us, right, if we can't clean a huge house like that, we don't want to move into one. But also for this reason, the more room there is, the more potting mix is in there, and the more it retains moisture. And if the roots aren't big enough to suck up all that moisture, it's not going to be good for the plant. It is a mess. The other thing to note also is the material. So there's terracotta, there's ceramic, there's glaze, there's non-glaze, there's plastic. So take a look at the plant that you have. If you have a tropical plant like this, these go really well in terracotta or ceramic. If you have a succulent plant, like a cactus or a succulent or something like that, terracotta is great for that. The terracotta really helps to pull the moisture from the potting mix, and we want to keep those plants a little bit dry. And also, if you have something like a fern or something that needs to be moist pretty often, keep those in plastic pots. Plastic pots are great for this, So I think this is going to be the pot we're going to, or the plant we're going to repot.
Let's do it.
Okay. We want to make sure also, depending on the plant, this is a tropical plant that leans a little bit towards like a succulent, because we have really thick leaves here. So I'm going to do a mixture of potting. We have the potting mix here is for cactus and succulents. This has a little bit more pumice. It has some other sand, like rock and stuff like that in there. And then we have tropical potting mix This is a little bit more heavy on the peat. It has a little bit of perlite in it and some fine ground bark. And then you can always add chunky bark in if you want to,
cool,
depending on what you have.
Okay.
So, the first thing we need to do is pick the pot. And I love this one, and I think this is going to be perfect.
That's really
for
beautiful,
it.
yeah.
It really is beautiful. I get a lot of mine from local artists, so, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're going to gently pull the plant, and we're gonna have to get a little bit of love here.
Okay.
A little just, and we want this, see this is really hard potting mix in here.
Yeah.
I brought a good one.
Okay.
One that I knew needed to be repotted.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just massage it out a little bit with our fingers. This is where you get dirty. I know.
I'm feeling nervous.
Well,
I want this plant to have what it deserves to thrive.
It's like one of those crackers, and
yes,
you can see the roots are really
way down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was a good time to do this.
Good job.
So we want to massage all of the old potting mix from here. And we can tell these roots really want to grow and they didn't really have a whole lot of room.
Yeah.
That's my fault. Okay.
It's never too late to do the right thing.
Right. So don't forget, and this is a perfect example of going about 2 to 4 inches bigger around the root system. So this is a perfect size. So because this is a little bit tropical, a little bit desert, we're going to do a combination of the two potting mixes. And so when we do this, we're going to put about 2 to 3 inches in the bottom, just to give it a little bit of room there. And then we'll place the plant back in there. Sometimes people will take some of the old and mix it with new. You can do that. I'm not going to do that this time just because I want to put new like fertilizer and stuff in there.
Fresh start.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So we'll just kind of do a combination
here. That's so cool. You can just kind of mix them together depending on what the plant really needs.
I always mix all of my potting mixes, so I'll just get a combination, and usually I'll have some perlite and some other additives that I can put in there.
What a great idea.
And then just kind of go from there. So once we do this, we want to tamp it a little bit, but you don't want to press it down too hard.
Okay.
So you want to give it room, give it some breathing space. And then you can do some additives if you want.
Okay.
I always recommend doing some sort of insect, something to control insects from even coming in the first place. So I like to do that. I also like to do a little bit of fertilizer. It's time. Typically we want to fertilize in the spring and the summer and use as directed. So whatever your favorite fertilizer is, just use as directed. And so we can do a little sprinkle of those on here. And then, of course, I brought a brand new one. I should have been a little bit more prepared.
Well, you're getting a fresh start for the spring.
Right? We're going to sprinkle that on a little bit. And then this is going to make sure that no pests
and we have about 30 seconds to finish this off, so we're right on time.
So then if you want to hand me
this guy?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll do the watering next, and I'll let you do that because that's not one of the dirty things to do. So I'll put a little bit of the mix in there.
Cool.
Mix it in, and then give it a good water.
How much?
Well, you'll know. That's good.
Okay.
And then
you think I'll know. Yeah, right.
And that's okay. No more than that. And then you're ready to go for spring. So I recommend doing this, about every 2 years or so, or when it shows signs.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was great.
You.
Okay, Erin's book again is How to Plant a Room and Grow a Happy Home. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.